Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, our lesson today is about geometric concepts, مفاهيم هندسية. The first concept, the line segment. What's the meaning of line segment? The line segment is a part of straight line. It's a part of straight line has starting point and ending point. Starting point and ending point. So it has a length. It has a length by measuring. It has a length by measuring. The point A is the starting point. The point B is the ending point, or the point B is the starting point and the point A is the ending point. So the line segment AB is written as AB or BA. AB or BA. The second concept, the straight line. What's the meaning of straight line? The straight line بيقول لي if we extend the line segment AB in both directions من الاتجاهين from A and from B. The line segment that extend from A and extend from B is called a straight line. Straight line OB, AB. The straight line AB hasn't starting point and hasn't ending point, but it has two directions. The arrow on A means the direction towards A. The arrow in B means the direction towards P. So the straight line AB or straight line PA. There is an infinite number of points on the straight line. The straight line has infinite number of points. The arrows show that the line can be extended without limit, بدون حدود, extended without limit on both sides, from the two sides. The third definition, the ray. What's the meaning of ray? The ray is a line segment extend from one direction. Extend from one direction. AB ray or BA ray. AB, A is a starting point, B towards direction towards P, or PA, P is a starting point, A the direction, P starting point, B the direction. So then AB line segment is a subset of straight line AB, AB ray is a subset of straight line AB, and BA is a subset of straight line AB. So AB line segment, subset of AB ray, subset of AB straight line. AB straight line. The third definition is the angle. What's the meaning of the angle? The angle, we can view an angle as the rotation of a ray from a point, from one position to another. يعني الري ده اتحرك from position to other. If A and B and A, B and C are or 3 points are 3 points non-collinear point, but means not belong to the same straight line, then AB ray and AC ray, AB ray and AC ray form the angle BAC or CAB or angle A. Yeah, the angle can be written angle PAC CAP or angle A. Angle A. The angle is the union. The angle, definition of the angle. The angle is the union of two rays with the same starting point. With the same starting point. The common point of the two rays is called the vertex of the angle. The vertex of the angle. Each of the two rays is called the side of the angle. The side of the angle. In this figure, the vertex of the angle is A. A is the vertex of the angle. AB ray and AC ray are the two sides of the angle. AB and AC are the two sides of the angle. يبقى ال A is the vertex, AB ray and AC ray are the two sides of the angle. Type of angles, we have many types of the angle. The first type of the angle is zero angle. The angle whose measure equals 0 degree. Measure of angle A, as example, measure of angle A equal 0 degree. The two rays are coincides. Second definition, the acute angles. The acute angle is the angle whose measure greater than 0 and less than 90. Measure of angle A greater than 0 degree and less than 90 degree. That's the measure of the acute angle. The third definition, right angle. Right angle, the angle whose measure equal 90 degree exact. Measure of angle A equals 90 degree exact بالظبط. The fourth type is obtuse angle. Obtuse angle means measure of angle A, or measure the angle of the obtuse angle greater than 90 and less than 180. Between 90 and 180. Measure of angle A greater than 90 degree and less than 180 degree. The fifth type, the straight angle. The straight angle is the angle whose measure equal 180 degree. Measure of angle A equals 180 degree. The sixth type, the reflex angle. What's the meaning of reflex angle? The reflex angle is the angle whose measure greater than 180 degree and less than 360 degree. Measure of angle A greater than 180 and less than 360 degree. The reflex angle. In this example, classify هنا معنى حدد أو صنف the angles into acute angle, obtuse angle and reflex angles. This angle of measure 60 degree less than 90 degree. So the type of this angle is acute angle. 115 is greater than 90 degree and less than 180. So the measure of angle or the type of the angle of measure 115 is obtuse angle. 195 degree greater than 180 and less than 360 means this angle is the type of this angle is reflex angle. The angle of measure 245, we note that 245 greater than 180 and less than 360. So the type of this angle is reflex angle as the angle of measure 195. reflex angle and reflex angle. Some relations between the angles. We have a relation between the angles. Number one, adjacent angles. Adjacent angle. What's the meaning of the adjacent angle? Two angles are said to be adjacent if they have a common vertex. Number one, a common vertex. Number one. And a common side. Number two, common side. But common vertex number one, common side number two. And the other two sides are on opposite side of the common side. Number three. The number three. The common. The two sides are on opposite side of the common side. يبقى we have three conditions to the angle said to be adjacent. We must have three conditions. Number one, common vertex. Number two, common side, BD. Number three, the other two sides, BA and BC, on the opposite side of the common side. So angle ABD and the angle DBA are two adjacent angles. Adjacent angles. Adjacent angle. Notice that. تعال نشوف ايه الملاحظة اللي هنا في الشكل ده. In figure 1 and figure 2 we have a question. If the two angles are adjacent, angle PAC and angle CDE are the two angles adjacent. Are the two angles have the three conditions؟ هل التو angles دول have عندهم الثلاث شروط؟ Number one, common vertex. The first angle has a vertex A. Angle BAC, the vertex is A. Angle CDE with vertex CD. So the two angles haven't a common vertex. So the two angles not adjacent because they haven't a common vertex. Number two, the two angles DAC and the angle DAB, the angle DAB, all the angles. The two angles have a common vertex? Yes, A. Have a common side? Yes, AD. Common side, AD. Are the two other sides in two different sides of the common side? No. The two other sides, CAC and AB, in one direction of the common side. So the two angle is not adjacent. The definition, another definition, the complementary angles. What's the meaning of complementary angles? The complementary angles are two angles. Complementary angles, two angles. Suppose we are given two pair of angles, 25 degree and 65 degree, 70 degree and 20 degree. What do you notice about the sum of each pair of angles? The angle 20 and 90. 20 plus 90, 20 plus 70 equal 90 degree. 65 plus 25, 85. We note that the two pair of angles are complementary angles. But the two pair of angles, the other two pairs are not complementary angles. Why? The two angles are said to be complementary if their sum of measure 90 degree. If they measure 90 degree, the two angles that their measure equal 90 degree is complementary angles. We note that from the previous definition, the two complementary angles one of them is acute, if one of them is acute, the second is acute. Number 2, if the first one is right, the first one is right angle, what's the type of the second angle? 0. يبقى we note that the two complementary angle, if one of them is acute, the other is acute. If one of them is right, the other is right. In this example, two complementary angles, the first is acute angles, then the second is acute angle. The second example, two complementary angles, the first angle is right, so then the second angle is 0 angle, acute angle. exercise هنا في الاكسرسايز what are the complements of the angle whose measure are. The complement to the angle 35 equal 90 minus 35. 90 minus 35. 90 minus 30. The complement of the angle 48 equal 90 degree minus 48. 90 minus 48. The complement of the angle 45 equal 90 minus 45. The complement of the angle 22 and a half equal 90 minus 22 and a half. 22 and a half. This is the complementary angles. The second relation between the two angles, supplementary angles. What's the meaning of supplementary angles? We are given two pairs of angles, 125 and 55, 151 and 29. What do you notice about the sum of each pair of angles? The sum. 125 plus 55 equals 180. 151 plus 29 equals 180. So the two angles said to be supplementary angles if the sum of their measures equal 180 degree. If the sum of their measure equal 180 degree. What do you notice about the type of the two supplementary angles? We notice that if the first is acute angle, the second is acute angle. The second is obtuse angle. If the first is acute, the second is obtuse. The second is obtuse. If the first is obtuse, the second is acute. If the first is right, the first is right angle, the second is right also, right angle. If the first is straight, the first is straight angle, the second is zero angle. Yep. The first acute, the second obtuse. The first right, the second right. The first straight, the second zero. Example. In this example, complete the two supplementary angles. The first acute, the second is obtuse angle. If the two supplementary angles, the first is right, the second is right. The second is right. The two supplementary angles, the first is obtuse with acute angle. The two supplementary angles, the first is straight, the second is zero angle. Okay, zero angles. Example, what's the supplements of the angle whose measures are 10. كلمة supplement means 180 minus 10. 180 minus 10. 180 minus 117. 180 minus 82. The second angle. 180 minus 92 and a half. To find the second angle, subtract 180 minus the angle. Subtract the angle from 180. Subtract the angle from 180. Definition: two adjacent angle formed by a straight line and a ray with a starting point on this ray are supplementary. In this figure, BD is a straight line, AC is a ray. The ray and the straight line, the starting point of the ray on the straight line or belong to the straight line. So the measure of angle BAC plus measure of angle CAD equals 180 degree. 180 degree. Example: in each of the following figures, A belong to CB straight line. Find the measure of angle BAD. This angle. We notice that the two angles PAD and DAC formed by a straight line CB and a ray AD. So the two angles are supplementary angles. Supplementary angle means 180 minus 120 equals 60 degree. The three angles BAD and EAC, the three angles are straight angle. So measure of angle DAE equals 180 straight angle minus the sum of the two angles 90 degree. Two angles 40 plus 50, 90 degree equals 90 degree. In this figure, the four angles form a straight angle. The four angles form a straight angle. So the sum of measure of the four angles are or equal 180 degree. 180 degree. Since the four angles are equal in measure, so the measure of each one equals 180 divided 4. 180 divided 4 equal 45. If we multiply 45 by 4, so the sum equals 360. 180. 180 straight angle. BAD equals 45. In these definitions, if the two adjacent angles are supplementary angles, then their outer sides are on the same straight line. Angle BAD and DAC are the two angles straight angle? Yes. Why? Because 180 plus 70, 110 plus 70 equals 180. 180, so the two outer sides AB ray and AC ray on or belong to the same straight line on the same straight line. The second example, angle BAD and DAC 37 plus 142 not equal 180. So the ray AB and the ray AC not belong to same straight line. Another relation between two angles, vertically opposite angle OA, vertically opposite angle. Draw AB straight line and CD straight line to intersect at M, then the measure of the angle AMD and CMB are equal. The measure of angle BMD and AMC are equal in measure. We notice that if the two straight lines intersect, then the measure of each two vertically opposite angles are equal in measure. That's the definition. The two vertically opposite angles are equal in measure. So we have a notes. If one of them of the two vertically opposite angles, if one of them is acute, the other one or the opposite is acute. The first angle is right, the opposite is right also. The first is obtuse, so the other is, or the opposite angle is obtuse. Why? Because they are equal in measure and equal in type. Example: the two vertically opposite angles, the first is acute, then the second is acute also, because they are equals. Two vertically opposite angles, the first is obtuse, the second is obtuse also. Why? Because they are equal in measure or equal in type. The two vertically opposite angles, the first is right, the second is right. Okay. The last definition: accumulative angles at a point. What's the meaning of accumulative angle at a point? From the point M, we draw MA ray, MB ray, MC ray, and MD ray. The resulted adjacent angles: angle AMD, AMB, BMC, CMD. Their measure or their sum of measure equals 360. The definition states that the sum of measure of the accumulative angle at a point equals 360 accumulative angle. Example: in this example, in the opposite figure, we note that we have a straight line CD. Straight line CD form a straight angle. Since angle DMC straight angle, then measure of angle CMB, CMB plus measure of angle BMD equals 180 degree straight angle or supplementary angles. Then measure of angle BMD equals 180 minus 116. 64 degree. We have two intersecting straight line. CD straight line, CD intersect BA straight line at point M. So we have two vertically opposite angles. Then measure of angle CMA equal measure of angle BMD equal 64 degree VOA, vertically opposite angles. Since the two angles AME and EMC are equal in measure, then measure of each one, measure of angle AME equals 64 divided 2 equal 32 degree. To find the measure of the angle, AMD يبقى measure of angle DMA equals 116 degree VOA, vertically opposite angles. In this figure, complete measure of angle CMD. Measure of angle CMD, we notice that the angles CMD, DMA, AMB and BMC are accumulative angle at a point, so the measure equals 360 degree. Then measure of angle CMD equals 360 degree minus sum 130 plus 50 plus 70 degree. What lie on the same straight line? We find that measure of angle AMB, measure of angle AMB plus measure of angle BMC equals 130 plus 50 equals 180 degree. The two angles are adjacent. So MC ray and MA ray lie on the same straight line. يبقى MC ray, MA ray on the same straight line. Complete. If measure of angle A equal 80 degree, then the reflex angle equal 360 minus 80. 360 minus 80 equals 280 degree. The measure of each of two equal complementary angles. Complementary angles means their sum equal 90. Two equal angles mean 90 divided 2. 9 divided 2 equals 45 degree. If measure of angle A and angle B are supplementary angles, means their sum equals 180 degree. And measure of angle A equal to measure of angle B. Measure of angle A, the ratio between measure of angle A to angle B 1 to 2. To find measure of angle A, divide 180 divide 1 plus 2 3 equals 60 degree. Then measure of angle B equals 60 degree. Measure of angle A equals 120 degree. 120 plus 60 equals 180 degree. Second, classify the angle into acute, obtuse or reflex angle. 10. What are the supplement? What's the meaning of supplement? supplement 180 minus 10. Supplement 180 minus 170. 180 minus 82. 180 minus 92 and a half. The second question, complement. What's the meaning of complementary angles? the two angles, their measure equal 90 degree. So 90 minus 37, 90 minus 48, 90 minus 45, 90 minus 22 and half. In the opposite figure, find measure of angle ABD and DBE CBE. We find that angle CA straight line, CA straight line, then angle CBA 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 straight angle, straight angle. The measure of the straight angle equals 180 degree. The straight angle divide into two angles, angle ABD and DBC. Then measure of angle ABD equals 180 minus 135 equals 45. The two angles DBA and ABE are equal. Then measure of angle ABE equals 45 also, 45 degree. To find measure of angle EBC, measure of angle EBC equals 180 minus 45 equals 135. That's the end of our lesson. Thank you.